connection or something?
Yeah, I've noticed that from time to time.
But Peggy did say she was going to be here because I just did a quick call, but check.
There she is.
We had-
Okay, I have opened up. I don't have anybody in the attendees yet.
No one at all?
Not yet. Up one. Yay.
Yeah.
Liz Lasso, welcome. You're the first one in the room. Congratulations. So, Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
if you want to get going.
Do we have Ruby or Peggy present? Because we don't have quorum yet.
I have
Peggy.
Peggy here.
Yep.
Oh, Peggy is here.
Peggy's here.
Oh, hi, Peggy. I didn't see you. How are you? Okay, great. All right, it being 6:32 p.m., I call this meeting of the Brockton Conservation Commission to order. This meeting is being conducted remotely in accordance with the extension of the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, real-time public participation and comment can be addressed to the Conservation Commission utilizing the Zoom virtual meeting software for remote access. If you wish to comment during a public input portion of a hearing, please use the raise your hand function to be addressed at the appropriate time. For those of you joining by phone only, please press *9 to raise your hand. A copy of this recording will be posted on the city's web pages. All votes will be done via roll call vote to ensure count accuracy. Please note that discussion of all agenda items shall be limited to 15 minutes to ensure timely progress through tonight's agenda. So do you want to check to see if Ruby is present or not? Which might,
Let me flip over to the other side.
Oh.
Ruby, there she is. Hang on.
yay. Good evening, Peggy Curtis.
See it. She is coming over now.
Come to the light.
There she is.
Let's check in. Hi, Ruby. Maybe. Hey, hello, Ruby. You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Beautifully. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so if each commissioner could please announce by first and last name that you're here in order that we could establish quorum.
Laura Beekler, aye.
Peggy Curtis, aye.
Ruby Clay, aye.
Okay, and Joyce Forrest, aye. So quorum is established. Okay, before beginning, there are two continuances. The following two agenda items have been continued at the applicant's requests, and they will not be discussed this evening. The first one is item number 3, the notice of intent for a filling station at the VA hospital on Belmont Street. That's been continued to the next meeting on April 19th. And the next one is item number 5, enforcement order and amended order of conditions for parking improvements at the Fuller Museum. That's been continued to May 17th. Okay, so with that being said, we can continue on to agenda item 1. And agenda item 1 is the minutes of the last meeting, and it's from the February 15th meeting. Have the commissioners had a chance to review those?
I did. I wasn't present, but I did read through them.
The copy that I have still has comments on them. They're not like finished product. I'm not sure. I couldn't seem to find one within the drive that were like a finished product and I'm not sure if that's available.
Yeah, I think I saw one in the drive.
I'm just having a really difficult time navigating that drive. I'm
Yeah.
not, but
There should be the final version in there.
Is the
Commissioner.
final one the Word document or the PDF?
Oh, it should be
believe-
on the document.
Yeah, the Word doc in
Okay.
the Google Drive.
Okay, that's the last one I looked at, so that's the
Yeah.
one I had read through, yeah.
Yeah.
okay, so, okay, I mean, I assume that the comments and everything that we made were in there, so if someone could just verify that that's so, then we certainly can make the motion, I'm sure.
See. Yes, I'm looking at them right now in the Google Drive, and all of the comments were addressed, including kind of listing out the agenda items and
Perfect.
some of the, those items. Yep.
Okay, I don't know what's wrong with my accessing the drive. I really think there's some issue there, but maybe I could address that with Rob or someone to figure out, or Isaiah or Road to see what's happening.
Somebody younger.
Okay,
I'll do my
Isaiah or
best.
Road, or at least.
It took me a while to figure it out, and then I finally did. I actually had to go back into one of my old, so what it is we used to be provided the pathway very clearly.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
then-
so now we
Oh.
aren't provided that in each one, so
Right.
I actually had to go back to one of Megan's, Miss Shav's old ones to get to the pathway. And then I saved the pathway today because I realized we're changing how we're doing. I was like, okay, hold on. So that's how I got to see.
If you could send the pathway to me, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's the
and-
difficult thing because everything's kind
Yeah.
of, it's difficult to locate.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll
now that
show
I,
you. Yeah. Yeah.
now that we know what the issue is, okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So anyway, I entertain a motion then for the minutes.
I can't make the motion because I wasn't present. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So Ruby,
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
And Ruby Clay seconds the motion.
okay, so the
Okay.
motion's made and seconded to accept the minutes from the February 15th meeting. All in favor?
Clay, I.
Curtis, I.
Hey, Clara.
Okay, Boris, it's been accepted. Thank you. Okay, item 2 on the agenda, which I did find a couple of different agendas. So I think item 2 on the agenda is something that says,
Should be the East Bridgewater.
it was the
Brockton.
East Bridgewater, right? Okay, fine. The East Bridgewater Brockton Sewage Extension Project, okay. So apparently there has been an agreement signed between the city of Brockton and the town of East Bridgewater that's going to allow a section of East Bridgewater to tie into the Brockton sewage system. Okay, so Ms. Tripp, our acting conservation agent,
Sure.
you summarize for us, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we received a copy of an EENF, which is an expanded environmental notification form. And this is kind of their basically preemptive before they go get specific permits. And it basically just outlined that there's going to be an extension of the East Bridgewater sewer system that's going to connect into Brockton through or underneath Thatcher Street. So it's about a quarter mile is the length of the new sewer that's going to be within the Brockton roadway. And it is going to be within buffer zone to BVW, as well as or bordering vegetated wetlands, and as well as within a small area of bordering land subject to flooding. And so with the EENFs, there are comment periods, and we can absolutely provide a comment if the commission would like. I could draft something up on your behalf, basically just kind of outlining that we received it and letting them know that a filing should be brought to you guys for Brockton Conservation.
So a filing, when you say that a
Yeah.
filing should be, brought, could you
It
expand?
would
on-
be, yeah, it would be an RDA would be sufficient for the work, a request for determination of applicability.
So then someone would come in, they would hire someone to do the RDA, is that correct? And then they would determine whether or not,
It's similar to a notice of intent process, except for it's a little bit lighter. So you don't get an order of conditions at the end. You
Right.
just kind of get a determination
Mhm.
that the work is, you know, within resource areas subject to protection, but there's different avenues of it. So you could say it's within it, but the work won't affect the resource areas. There's a couple different options, but it allows us to get a set of eyes on it.
Okay. Commission, any questions at all?
No, I think that the RDA would be sufficient, and then once we see that, we can begin the review.
So, all right with you if Ms. Tripp drafts a letter?
Yes,
That
Yeah.
that would go to East Bridgewater, right? To the
Hmm?
goes to the town of East Bridgewater?
The letter would go, so basically they filed the EENF through MEPA, the Massachusetts Environmental Protection Agency. So we would basically, they have somebody reviewing it. They're kind of the reviewer from the states. We would send our comments in there to
Okay.
them. They're due by the 27th. So we'd get something.
Okay,
together
good.
for them.
Good, that's timely enough then.
Mhm.
Good. Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Okay,
I
any
tried
questions?
to access the
Yeah.
file that you gave us, but I was
Yeah.
not able to do that. I don't know whether it was because it was too big or what.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
it can be downloaded from the website. I do believe that Isaiah was able to get it downloaded on the Google Drive as well. And it should be visible there. I know it would have been recently that it was uploaded though.
Yep, it's on the Google Drive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
opened it.
see a
So-
document here. Is that the document that you're talking about?
It's like 250 pages or so, something like that, or maybe more, I forget. But yeah, it's just one document.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
245 pages.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
All
it's
right.
lovely, lovely reading.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
like reading, you know. Mhm.
Okay, so we will, okay, so we'll hear back from that, I assume after.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Item 4 on the agenda then is an enforcement order update and notice of intent from Claremont Avenue, map 181-042. Is there a representative present for that file?
Um,
Mhm.
Grady, maybe? Grady
Yes.
Consulting?
I see Grady. Let me move him over. And there he is.
Good evening, Mr. Grady.
Good evening, Chairwoman. How are you?
We are all fine, thank you.
So we were before you probably 2 months ago now, where we presented this restoration plan. We prepared a notice of intent along with John Zimmer of South Environmental. He prepared a restoration plan in accordance with the state regulations and same format that we've provided for numerous other sites. Basically, the restoration plan outlines strategies for removing fill from the resource area, or in this case, the buffer zone. We have no areas where wetlands were filled on the site. Basically, it lays out the format on how we're going to accomplish the removal of the fill and what we're going to plant in there, how we're going to plant it, and reestablish the buffer zone functions that function to protect the interests of the act in the resource area. Basically, protection from stormwater, protection of groundwater, etc. We went over this at the last hearing in some detail, and the commission requested that this be sent out to Beta Group for review of the stormwater. We have had a series of back and forth, basically 2 iterations. Beta provided their initial iteration. We basically agreed with every one of their requests. And then that last iteration was minor details, which we explained in a few letters and provided to the commission and to Beta. Changes that the commission has not seen, that's not technical in nature, relating to the stormwater. In our previous iteration, this green area is actually,
Can you share your screen?
yeah, I have not yet, sorry.
Okay,
I've been staring at screens all day. I figured everybody else was seeing them.
He was pointing to the green area. I'm like, wait, what?
Let's see. All right, can you see
There we
the
are.
site? All right, good. So initially we had the green area is proposed loam and seed. It's going to be grasses, low mow type grass. This obviously isn't a single family house lot where I'm going to be out there every weekend mowing it. So we want to only maintain it a few times a year. Our initial iteration was to plant just the 100-foot buffer zone. At the urging of Beta, we decided to plant the entire contributing area. That's the area that contributes to the, I guess, our drainage basin, and then following that to the wetland resource area. So right now, as you know, the site is void of vegetation. It's gravel and stockpiles, etc. We're in the process of removing those. We're going to bring that down to grade. We're going to loam and seed. So at the urging of Beta, basically when a raindrop lands here, they would like it to run over grassed land or vegetated land instead of over gravel land, which has more potential for picking up silt and rutting, etc. So
Mhm.
runoff over this grassed area will contribute less amount of erosion and sediment toward the proposed basin.
Mhm. Would you mind, Mr. Gate? Yeah.
Sure.
Could you point out the basins on that previous map where these are kind of
Sure.
overlaid, right?
Yeah, let's, I'll just switch to the next sheet, but let me just point out one other thing on this first sheet. The dense planted restoration area of the 25-foot buffer is this darker green area. So we're proposing, I have to zoom in to read this, 12,000 square feet of buffer zone restoration. In the written narrative of the restoration, John Zimmer has proposed a number of plantings and specified what plantings need to go in there to reestablish the 25-foot zone. Everything else is loam and seed, basically 364,000 square feet. So several acres anyway of restoration there or plantings. The drainage basin is basically this area in here. So everything from the north side of this plan or the northeast side runs down gradient toward this wetland. This basin was placed at a location as far down gradient as we could set it to collect the runoff. As you can see, this basin is cut to elevation 118, and the top of the basin is elevation 123. So there's basically a berm right here at elevation 123 and 118 here. So it's a 5-foot deep basin. It's a few hundred feet long across here, across the entire property. So any runoff that lands up here that currently runs toward this wetland will be collected. It'll run over grass and then be collected in this infiltration basin. We've analyzed the infiltration basin, and the volume that we've created here collects all the storms, the 2, 10, 25, and 100-year storms. There's an emergency overflow here. So in the event that the system in some amount of years doesn't work, instead of blowing out like a dam, this outlet controls the flow over crushed stone and minimizes or eliminates erosion and sedimentation. So that's just an emergency overflow in this location here. The other item that Beta requested is that we provide access, an 8-foot wide access way along the perimeter of the downslope for access to both the restoration plan and the down gradient side of the basin. We're going to basically put a somewhat of a stable base on that, but basically that's going to be loamed and seeded as well. It will turn to native vegetation, but it provides a flat area for access in the if it becomes, in the instance it becomes necessary. We will need it for construction as well. One of the other items they requested is we initially had the backside of this basin at a slope of 2.5 to 1. Right now, it's probably 1 to 1 or steeper in areas. They asked that we flatten this to a 3 to 1 slope. The 3 to 1 slope is basically a mowable slope. You could take your lawnmower out on a 3 to 1 slope. So basically, we're going to cut all of this back, slope it up at 3 to 1, and then install the basin in that location. Just zoom back out. I think those were the major items. You probably look through the plans. These red lines here are construction phase sediment basins. So when we're constructing this gives us a place to put runoff, so it doesn't discharge directly into the resource area. We're basically cutting swales, so any runoff that comes down this way is going to hit the swale and head into a construction phase basin. At one point, we were asked, I believe, by the conservation agent to provide cross sections. That's what this sheet is. We're basically showing multiple cuts through that basin on a cross section so that you can see where the existing grade is currently versus where it is going to be when completed. So you can see this is the wetland side down here at elevation 112. And we have a 25-foot section. That's the restoration plan. Then we have an 8-foot section. That's the access. Then we have the 3 to 1 slope coming up to elevation 123. Then we slope down at 3 to 1 to the basin. That's 118. So if you look, those all line up with what we've shown and have discussed. And then the site slopes up toward the Howard Street.
How high does it get when it gets out towards Howard Street? What's the highest point beyond that on the map? Yeah,
Elevation 130, 132.
so it is still pretty high up there, huh?
Yeah, that is in line with the natural grade over there as well. So even off property, if you look here, this is off of our property, and there is a hill here, but that's 144, 138. So that the site has always sloped in that direction. I think there was a baseball field here once, and then there was a steep slope out in the outfield, and then it went, up to elevation 130. The rest of the plan is just construction details, how to build that. This is the post-development plan. Anything inside of this orange line basically is contributing to this basin. We're proposing to seed and plant this whole area. This is currently woodland, so I'm not proposing anything there. Beta asked that we do the pre-development analysis based on the satellite imagery from before 2015. I believe this is a 2015 image. And basically what they wanted us to do is a conservative analysis. Back in 2015, runoff went across woodland, which means it contributes less water to the resource area. So that is our baseline for analysis, less water. So in our post-development analysis, we had to show that we're not increasing flow faster than it was at this time.
Mhm.
That was another one of their comments in their first review of this. And we, as I said, we agreed and gave them every request that they had.
And
So
it
I,
does- Okay.
go ahead, sorry.
No, it does look like the size of the hills on the sides are really pretty dramatically decreased. We looked at that cross section for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have for now, and I'll take any questions, and I can zoom to any sheet that you want to discuss.
I have a question. That access way, that you have shown in gray,
Yes.
it's used for construction of what?
Well,
Because
we'll
it's in
need-
the 25-foot buffer zone.
Right. So the post-development that will be vegetated. So when we're done, that was a request from Beta. We basically need to get machinery out there to pull fill out of the 25-foot buffer zone. So where the flags are is wetland, and you can see the
Mhm.
arced line here. That's the
Mhm.
current tree line. There is fill pretty much right up to the wetlands. So we need to get machinery in there and pull that out. So this will be the access road to do so. It'll also be the access road to, over a few years while the restoration plan is establishing, we'll be able to get in there with, smaller equipment and get plantings down there if the initial planting does not meet the 75–80% survival rate that is outlined in the restoration.
And I have another question.
Sure.
Are there any plans for a sports complex on this area after it's been restored?
There's nothing currently on this site. On the adjacent property there is. So this whole property, we're still permitting with the town for 4 fields and a building, snack shack, parking, etc. There's nothing planned on this site at this point.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, will this still be used as a gravel removal area or anything? Will it still be used?
No, the owner is not permitted to do that at this time. I believe this is zoned residential or sports complex. So whatever the uses that are allowed in those zones are the only potential. It's basically going to be it's going to be vacant land.
Okay. Now, the fill that you'll be removing, you said you're going to be removing some fill from the 25-foot?
Correct.
And then what will you replace that with in order to get the appropriate vegetation?
Sure. In the narrative, in the planting restoration plan, John Zimmer describes specifically what types of material goes in there, and it's a mix of loam and sand, but it's not. It's basically a loam mix. So we bring it down to grade, which is about elevation 112.
Mhm.
We want to have the plants be within, a foot or two of the groundwater table in the buffer zone as well. So in the wetland, you want them within 18 inches because those plants like to have their roots within the water. So this area just above the resource area, just above the wetlands, we want to have slightly higher than that. I can pull up the specific mixes if you'd like, but it's the same we've used, in all restoration projects.
Mhm. Could I see the green screen again? That green, yeah. Okay. Is there any particular reason why that left corner is not green? Why
This
it's
here?
loamy? Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go back down here. So if you look, it's woodland.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep, yep.
Good. Okay. Okay, Ms. Tripp, would like to hear what your findings were or for your report.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I had reviewed all the revised information, and Kevin spoke correctly that they addressed all of Beta's comments regarding the stormwater. In my review, I had also looked at agent reports from Mashave, and the December 2022 agent report, based off of the recommendations and conclusions she had in that report, there were a few missing items. Two of them were related to just a specific note that was asked to be provided on the plans, which is simple enough. The third one was the requirement per the enforcement order to have a film management plan from a licensed soil or LSP, a licensed site professional. And I don't believe that they're within that restoration plan that's been provided so far, that a kind of fill management plan and screening plan for the fill that's being removed during this process has been provided yet. And that is something that I had provided. I put together a revised report. Not sure if that has made it out to the appropriate parties. And if not, we can make sure that it does. But that's kind of the quick summary, is that two notes for the plan and a fill management protocol.
So
Yeah,
the okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, we haven't seen that latest
Okay.
report. The site is under a consent order with
Mhm.
DEP
Okay.
to remove the material. They have engaged with LSP, who did an initial site investigation and
Yeah.
found that there was no hazardous materials, et cetera, and DEP accepted that initial site investigation and approved the consent agreement to remove the materials on site. So
Does,
DEP, go ahead, sorry.
does the material that goes back in to be retained in the area have to be tested as well? Is that part of that testing protocol?
So the material that's there, we did test holes on the site, and there's the material below the stockpiles is all natural, sands and loamy sand, some silt loam. That does not have any testing protocol with it. So that material is basically natural material, and then the stockpiles above was a mix of brick, wood, etc.
So, Elise, would you
Mhm.
mind just quickly summarizing what
Yeah.
the protocol would be?
Yeah, so this is the enforcement order requested a fill management plan from a licensed site professional with sampling of fill for laboratory analysis. And that was echoed in Megan's December report. And she had said, as required in the enforcement order, soil sampling should be provided. A soil testing protocol should be provided for review of any existing fill or material proposed to be retained within the 100-foot buffer zone. With that said, I'm not sure if in the past, if the commission has seen maybe some of the documentation from DEP regarding that work that Kevin had talked about, or if that's something that could perhaps be provided for the commission if they would like just that kind of verification.
Yeah, I would certainly appreciate that. Certainly a, you know, that document to be able to review, so we'd be more familiar with it, as well as an actual soil testing protocol. It doesn't seem as unreasonable that would be needed.
I have a question too. You said that the gravel is sitting on top of topsoil. Has there been any digging that has to be filled in? Are there any holes or anything like that that needs to be filled in?
I'm not, could you ask me that one more time? I'm not sure if I followed that
On
question.
this site where the green loam is right now.
Yep.
Is there any holes? Did they dig up any holes in that area, or
Not that I'm aware of. This site was basically filled with materials. There was no excavation or removal. As I indicated before, there used to be a baseball field down here, and this was relatively flat, and then it just jumped up. Maybe I can, you can see it here. So this whole area down the bottom here was pretty flat, and then it went uphill where these trees were in this area here. So there was nothing to be dug and you know, out in this area. And
do you
this
have any
rises right up.
current aerial views of the site now?
Yeah, so this is 2015, and this, I believe, was
Wow. Wow.
All those trees are gone.
Yeah.
no, that's not right. The previous one was 2014. I think this is last year. I got Beta asked that we grab the most recent available imagery from Google, and I think I just didn't
Yeah.
edit that note on the bottom there.
When the green is gone, though, it's much more, it's pretty, yeah, it looks more remarkable, I think.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I have a question about the soil samples. Has the soil sampling been done? And that is then reported to DEP, is that correct?
Are you asking that through the chair or to the chair, Rob?
Through the chair.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Grady.
So yes, the licensed site professional has provided the documentation requested by DEP. I'm not directly involved with that, so I couldn't tell you much more than that statement.
Okay, so we'll have to track that down with DEP, but that's a separate item.
And this protocol would be sampling as you go along, is that correct? As you go
Yeah,
through the process.
I'm waiting to see what protocol you requested, but yes, the removal of materials and the DEP consent order does tell them if they hit certain things, or you know that they need to report it, and also there's inspections along the way.
And are the copies of those inspections forwarded to the commission as well as to the DEP, do you know?
I think it's DEP only. And again, I'm not directly involved with that. That is outside my area of expertise on that level.
Mhm.
I have one more question. Are
Go
there
ahead.
any silt socks in and around the 20-foot buffer zone?
Yeah, we've proposed this is the sediment control, erosion control plan. So we have silt fence up in the higher areas here. And then we have silt sock proposed along the lower here,
But
lower
there's
areas, this
none,
red line.
there's none there now. Is that correct?
No, there is.
Oh, there are.
That was inspected by the Ms. Shav
Mhm.
a few months ago.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, since that piece of the enforcement order is still unresolved, perhaps we could continue till the next meeting and get some information from DEP and get to see a soil testing protocol. Does that seem reasonable?
Yes, I'd like to see that myself.
Yep, we can provide something
And Ms. Tripp,
related to that.
would you be able to get information for us from the DEP?
We can see what we can find.
Okay. All right, that'd be appreciated. Good. Okay,
So if you could send me Elise, if you could send me your last letter there to prompt me to do this. This is dragged on a while, so I actually
worries.
missed that.
It was,
Piece.
yeah, it was from earlier this week was the revised report. And I will go through the office and make sure that it
Okay,
gets sent out to the appropriate people.
I just got the phishing email from Gary's email.
I got that
didn't
too.
see-
I did too.
Yeah.
I was expecting a report, so I was clicking away on the thing, but my computer's still working, so
You
no
weren't the
harm.
only one, so
Whoever did that timed it well.
yeah, yep.
okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, do we have a meeting date that we need to continue to?
Would be April
April
19th.
19th.
Okay.
Right.
All right, I will look for that report and I will get back in touch with you if I don't see it.
Okay, good.
All right,
So we
thank
need
you.
a motion, I believe, to continue.
I make a motion to continue Claremont Avenue till April 19th meeting.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded.
Clay, I.
Beekler, aye.
Curtis, I.
Boris, aye. We will see you next month.
Thank you very much.
Before you
wait.
jump off,
Yes.
Yep.
Madam Chair, the
a
board
question.
counselor would like to,
Oh, I'm
make a
terribly
comment?
sorry. I didn't ask for participants. I didn't realize that there was anyone present. Thank you. Yes, sir.
so Mr. Lally, you should be able to unmute yourself and speak now. Or you should be able to speak. I don't think you need to unmute yourself.
Does look like it's muted.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm gonna try another.
I'm unmuted now. I'm
Oh,
unmuted
there you
now.
are.
Am I?
Mhm.
There I am. So sorry, I had to call in as opposed to regular zooming. I appreciate you. I appreciate you catching my hand. Yeah, I was gonna actually really ask for what the commission had already decided to do and postpone this until everything can be properly put to bed and understood. So I am happy they do that, and I thank the beta group for their deliberate work. I had something a little more grandiose, but seeing as as we're already exercising due diligence and caution and pushing this to the next meeting in order to get more information, I'll limit my my remarks to that. But I appreciate the efforts of the commission in this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Lally.
Thank you.
Are any other participants requesting to be heard?
Not at this time, ma'am.
Okay. So do we vote? I know the motion was made and seconded. We did vote, right?
Yes, you did.
All right. Okay, Mr. Grady.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Do any of the commissioners feel as though they would want to take a walkthrough? Or,
Yeah, I think it would be a good
Peggy is
idea.
nodding her head, yes.
yeah,
I couldn't
Yeah.
unmute myself fast enough, yes.
okay.
Well,
This trip would
we
just be
couldn't hear you
arranged.
shaking your head.
This trip, would you be able to arrange that where we could take a walkthrough? Because it's so difficult to look at everything and get a.
I think we could reach out to the applicants.
Okay, we could
and
do
try
that
to set
before,
something up.
maybe in early April. That would be great.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. If you could just let us know a couple of dates, that would be wonderful.
absolutely. I will look into that and get back to you, in the next coming days, and we'll reach out to the applicant and see what their schedules are like as well.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Oh, I do see another attendee with their hand up. Is it,
Lisa Crawley, unfortunately, is the
applicant isn't here.
applicant's not here, or the applicant's representative is not here. But I'll let her ask a question. I will allow her to speak. Lisa, you should be able to address the
There
group
we
now.
go. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, folks. You're doing a great job. We're making our way through this. I just wanted to say, if you want to do a tour, I will be happy to show you the whole area. I fear if you work it through Mr. Ruckus, he will limit what you can see. So feel free. My phone number I can give to you. I'm sure folks have it. But if you want to see the whole thing and not the edited version, I would be happy to give you guys tours.
Well, thank-
I would caution people against trespassing.
Oh, no, you don't have to trespass. Don't worry
The
about
commission,
it.
the
You don't
commission
have to
can get,
trespass.
the commission can get access through the owner as part of their duties. So, and they will go with the LSP.
We appreciate your comment.
I don't want you arrested.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Next up,
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So, let's see. Okay, so there are a couple of updates. I believe there were a couple of enforcement orders from the last meeting. And I just wondered if we have an update on those. One was
Mhm.
803 Crescent Street. I think it was recommended that a letter be sent last time asking for someone to be present at this meeting. Is there anyone present here for 803 Crescent Street? Do you know if any participants or attendees are here?
attendees, participants for Crescent Street, please raise your hand. So I know that you're here. And I am saying no.
When was that request for the letter, letter requesting their presence here? Do you know when it was sent?
About 2 weeks ago, Commissioner.
Sent 2 weeks ago? And there was no response? So
What
that's,
can I know of?
that's the second meeting that they were asked to attend.
Mhm.
This was the one where there was some snow removal, of snow that was being pushed into the 25-foot.
Yep, as well as the pavement,
asphalt. Yeah, yeah,
repaving encroachment, correct?
right, right. So commissioners, any comments, suggestions?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. May.
I know you have to close this thing out or take your action, but I want to remind you all on the commission and those watching at home that the commission has introduced a wetlands ordinance, which has a enforcement option within it. that would allow for the commission to levy fines and to have the city collect those funds to make improvements. And so if you are interested in that wetlands ordinance, it is available through the clerk's office if you want to read the whole thing. But the commission did a really great job of writing it. But please call your ward counselor, please call the counselors at large to let them know that this is important to you. So that's the end of my soapbox.
It's difficult to enforce when there really isn't an enforcement
Exactly.
process
Yep.
in place. Yeah, I mean, what would be the enforcement process? You'd go to the city solicitor and then what happens?
And then you go to court and then it just takes
exactly.
forever.
Mm,
But if you keep slapping them with a fine every day, that money adds up quickly.
mhm,
It does.
mhm.
We know that it's been mailed to this person. Is there any way to confirm receipt of that? Like, have we ever done certified mail?
Very good
Yeah,
question.
so they are, the original one and the second one would have, were sent out, certified mail return receipt requested. So
Okay,
whether they actually sign it and it gets sent back to us,
A mystery.
yeah, you never know. I have in the past sometimes gotten it back from people for a variety of things, sometimes not. But good question. We did do a return receipt requested with both of them.
could we check with the mailroom to see if they've received that? The only reason I'm hesitant is
Yeah.
we could be mailing and.
Yeah,
The receipt
Yeah.
would come to our office
Okay,
and it has not.
it has not yet, okay.
No, ma'am.
Is there
So-
any way to reach out to them? Could we have Ms. Tripp reach out by phone versus just, or by, because we know that they're not responding to email, right?
Or to
They're not
mail, yeah.
responding. Yeah, email and regular mail is not getting a response. Because I don't know.
Have
what
we,
next step is.
Yeah.
have we done that in the past? I don't know.
I really
if
don't.
from a safety point of view. if
Yeah.
that's-
I was reading over our last minutes and we already made a motion to refer the enforcement order.
I
Yeah.
think that was for Horman, wasn't it? That was
On
Harmon
Herman
Street.
Street, okay. we
Yeah,
did
this is
that.
Yeah.
Crescent. This is the one.
Yeah,
We sent a second
It
request
was
to
the
the
second
property.
request for
owner.
attendance.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, yes. The Harmon one was 2 years in standing, so
yeah.
Right,
that was a little different than, yeah.
that's right, okay.
But by telephone, do you think telephone is an issue if there's no safety?
No, if we have a number, we will certainly
I was gonna say we can
have a lease.
I can see if perhaps there's something listed for the address somewhere and give that a try.
Okay,
Mhm.
Do we know if language is an issue? Maybe it needs to be issued in another language other
that's
than
what I'm wondering.
English?
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering, because oftentimes we do it, I've talked to several residents of Brockton and the concern is that they didn't understand what they were receiving.
Yeah.
And different things, not this specifically, but in different areas. So that's why I was just curious if they're just not even realizing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
So,
I mean,
Can I ask, did it go to a street address or a PO box?
It would
I
have been, I believe it went to the street address for that
Okay,
business.
What's the
Let
street
me
address?
look.
because there's sometimes people just don't.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it was the street address, 803 Crescent Street.
Just
Is
don't
there a
take it.
business? Is that a business listing?
I believe so.
Mm.
I believe it is I think it's a auto business perhaps.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
that's-
believe.
Yeah. The name of the owner?
We have it addressed to a Stephen Maher, which I believe was probably taken from assessors. It says Stephen Maher trustee.
Trustee.
It's not going to be a language issue.
Mhm.
On that same vein, we
Mhm.
do have the Herman Street. Enforcement order that was, I believe, referred to the city solicitor did that go through already since the last meeting? Do you know if the referral was made to the city solicitor? We did request that that be done. Because it had been such a long-standing issue.
Mhm.
Do you know, Isaiah, if,
We have to check our records. I'm not sure if it went through. Law has been very backed up also, but we will follow up.
Mr. May, what's the process for that? Do you send a letter from your office to their office or?
We send an email from our office to them. And then it gets assigned to an attorney.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So we just have no action on those two, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Not right
And
now.
Isaiah Road, if you'd remind me tomorrow, because I will forget.
We'll do, we'll do.
Thank you. And the very last commission update, I believe, is the Black Ledge Complex on the Easton Brockton line.
Correct.
So
Yeah, there's no news on that aside from that the site visit is going to be tomorrow at 10 a.m. And
Yeah.
I will be there.
commissioners, did you get the invitation? I think it was an invitation to the, I think it was sent to Concom. There was a Concom invitation.
Was it? I can't see it.
It came a while ago from, I think it was Pam Gurley maybe sent it. It was when Pam,
It was maybe 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
It was like the end of February when I looked at the date of it.
Oh, the end of February, okay.
So,
Yeah.
you do
No,
remember
so-
that lovely case, right? The
Never
back and forth, whether or not modeling was important or modeling was important and where the water, oh my God, seasonal high water, groundwater, I would dream about that. Oh my God, it's awful. Anyway, DEP, apparently Hill Law is appealing our OOC
Yeah.
and appealing it to the DEP. So the DEP is coming out tomorrow to take a look at the site
Mhm.
and make either, okay, your OOC is okay, or we're gonna issue a superseding order of conditions, and this is what they're going to be. I think that's what it is. Is that how that works?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. The site visits usually just, or the on-site is just kind of for additional information, get eyes on the ground, and then they usually make their decision, sometime after that.
Do you have any idea what that time frame would be?
I'm trying to remember. There is a time frame that I can find out for you. I don't remember off the top of my head though.
Okay.
But they seem to be late into this process. I mean,
Yeah.
this site visit is taking a while to organize.
Yeah, I wouldn't anticipate it to be, the day after or anything. I'm sure
No,
it'll
no,
probably be a
right.
few weeks.
Yeah.
It kind of also, I
But-
believe you can, oh, sorry.
I was going to say, but statutorily, there is a certain period of time that
Yes.
they have to respond.
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
expect that. I would
Yeah.
expect that. Yeah, so it should be interesting. I don't know if it's too late for anyone else to sign on, but I'm going as well. I'm really happy that you're going this trip since
Yeah.
as a commission, our decision, I think, ladies, commissioners, if you remember, our decision was based on Beta's reviews, and our decision was made on accepting Beta's, validity of what they thought the OOC would be. And so I'm really happy that you'll be there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, good. So, okay, so I think that's at 10 a.m., is it?
Yes. Yep. 10 a.m.
I have to work, but let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Do you want me to see if we can get you there? I don't know. I'm.
You can just show up. They don't, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll usually they take attendance at the meeting as well. I mean, they usually like an idea of
It's a
who's gonna be
sign-in
there,
sheet.
but yeah, there's a sign-in sheet. Yep.
Okay,
And I'll be working also, so I won't be able to make it.
Ruby,
I won't either. I'll be in Braintree.
Mr. May?
Oh, I was double booked already.
Okay, I say en route. We'll go out for coffee. Okay.
We have
Well,
to
they say
work.
I borrow my boots.
You're gonna need some boots, couple boots. Okay. Does anyone have anything else that feel that they should discuss other than, I'm not sure about April? If that's, when will you let us know? Is it definitely going to be at City Hall in April?
Yes, it will be.
Oh, it will be?
Yes,
Okay,
I think the date is outside of the
Yeah.
expiration date.
Alrighty.
I
so
have
will
a
have to-
question on the East Bridgewater Brockton Sewer Extension Project.
Mhm. Sure.
Does that impact any wetlands? Is that concern the commission in any way?
Not really. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Logistically, it's all occurring within the existing roadway. They basically just dig a trench, put it in, fill the trench in. It's more so kind of just making sure they put in erosion controls and just are kind of mindful of sediment and the like. But it's a pretty routine utility deal, so there shouldn't be any resource area impacts.
I can't wait till they redo that street. It's terrible to drive. Your teeth are rattling in your head by the time you get over it. You know?
It might be worse after they put the train, and they're just gonna pave it, that just the portion they altered, so I can't promise anything, but
Oh, God.
Hmm.
but yeah.
Okay, then I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Beekler, aye.
Play I.
Curtis, I.
Boris, aye. Have a lovely night.
All right.
All right, everybody have a
night.
great evening. Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Rob.